Yo, what's good everyone? Today we're looking at this 24mm f1.8 lens from Viltrox. I'm holding up this box because I'm actually using the lens to shoot this video right now. The Viltrox 24mm comes in at just over $400 USD, so it's a great budget option for the Sony E Mount lineup. This lens has great character and packs a ton of value for the price. But before we dive into the details, I want to disclose that Viltrox did send me this lens to review. However, they did not have a say in this video and all of the opinions are my own. So 24mm is a very popular focal length. You can use it for pretty much any type of photography like portraiture, landscapes, and travel. Due to the versatility, it is also a great lens for video work. That's why I was really excited to test out this 24mm lens because it's a perfect walk-around focal length for hybrid shooters. I took this lens on a trip to the Catskills to try and catch the last of the fall foliage. So all of the shots in this video were taken using the Viltrox 24mm f1.8 and the Sony A7R4. I'm also working on a street photography POV video using this Viltrox lens, so don't forget to subscribe. Taking this 24mm out of the box, the first thing I noticed was the build quality. This lens has a solid metal construction with this glossy black finish. It has a nice heft to it, but I was really surprised by how light it is. Coming in at just 12 ounces, this is easily an all-day carry and balances well on the A7R4. The body of the lens has a wide focus ring that is very nicely dampened. It spins smoothly and has a good amount of resistance for manual focusing. There is also a declicked aperture ring that is very useful for video. Moving the ring from A does have a click, so you don't knock it out by accident. Unfortunately, this lens isn't weather sealed, but for this price point, you can't really complain. At the base of the mount, there is a USB-C port for software updates. This is awesome to see because it means that it'll be forward compatible with future bodies that Sony comes out with. Nothing about this lens feels cheap, and I really like the way it looks. It has a serious professional aesthetic with no flashy design or gimmicks. Overall, I'm very impressed with the build quality for the price. Okay, let's start off pixel peeping at the image quality in Lightroom. This brick wall is shot wide open at f1.8, and you can see center sharpness is very good. Moving into the corners is where we can start to see some image degradation. Details get soft and there is a bit of smearing in the very extreme corners. But unless you are pixel peeping like this, it's not very noticeable. However, you can see significant vignetting and wavy distortion throughout the frame. The corners get pretty dark, but thankfully these can be reduced by a profile correction in Lightroom. Keep in mind that all of the images in this review is shot on the Sony A7R4, which has a very demanding high megapixel sensor. If you're using this lens on another camera like the A7 III or a crop sensor like the A6000 series, you may not see any of these issues at all. Stopping down to f2 does improve the image. The center sharpens up and there's increased contrast as well. The corners also improve and vignetting is very slightly reduced. By 2.8, the image looks pretty good across the frame. The smearing in the corners are pretty much gone. And there is further improvement at f4 and f8. Alright, now let's check out some images from real-world usage. I really enjoy shooting with the Viltrox 24mm f1.8, and I like the way this lens renders images. To me, the vignetting really isn't an issue, and it adds subtle character to the shots. In some instances, it is more apparent, like photos of the sky or plain background. Sharpness is more than adequate, even shooting wide open. Paired with the resolution of the A7R4, you can crop in on details even when the subject is far away. The color reproduction is also natural, with no strange color casts. I find the warmer tones to be especially pleasing. And the bokeh looks good at close distances, but can get a bit busy depending on the background. Flaring is generally well controlled, but you can get some flare, especially when the sun is shining directly into the lens or at the corner of the frame. All of the images in this video were taken without the lens hood, so if you use the hood, it can further reduce flaring. But honestly, I think light flares add a ton of character to the images, and sometimes I shoot specifically with the sun in frame just to get some type of flare. However, wide open at f1.8, some of the images can look a bit faded with low contrast. The autofocus is generally pretty quick and accurate. All of the native focus modes work well, like eye autofocus. Here's a quick demonstration of face tracking in video mode. Best of all, there is very little focus breathing, which was surprising to see. Even some much more expensive lenses have issues with focus breathing, so this is great news for video work. And finally, the autofocus motor is pretty quiet as well. You can hear it if you listen closely, but it is nearly silent in regular use. I think the Viltrox 24mm f1.8 is a great addition to the Sony E Mount lineup. It's compact, lightweight, offers a ton of visual character, and all for a pretty reasonable price. However, if you are looking for the sharpest lens, top optical performance, and weather sealing, this lens is not for you. Some of the 24mm alternatives include the Sony G Master, which is significantly more expensive, and there is also the Samyang 24mm f1.8. The Samyang comes in at a similar price point but offers different design and physical features. Unfortunately, I don't have access to these lenses to compare against, so I can't speak to the optical performance. Alright, so that's it for this video. Drop your questions in the comments below, and follow me on Instagram for additional photos that didn't make it into this video. And don't forget to hit that like button if you found this review helpful in any way. And definitely subscribe so you don't miss out on future uploads like my upcoming street photography POV video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.